exciting. Uh, we're going to go live shortly. Are we going live? Is there?
Sir, just started, sir. I've just started the live.
Oh, you started already? Okay, you should tell me that. Okay.
Just now, sir.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so we've gone live. So the plan for the evening, I believe, is quite simple. We're going to go through a quick set of slides just to put out some numbers and some discussions. I want to keep that really short because I think this group probably knows enough about the program. We don't need to talk too much about it. I'll do a very quick round of numbers. But before that, let me first introduce Professor Vignesh. I think many of you might have seen him in one of the earlier meetings, maybe not. So he's a coordinator for the program now. He's taken over, and some of you may know Professor Pratap has now taken over as Dean for Academic Courses at IIT Madras. So he's become our boss, in some sense. So Vignesh has come in as the coordinator. Let's welcome him with a round of applause. Whatever you can do equivalent on WebEx to welcome Professor Vignesh. Bharti is also here. She will say hi shortly. Everybody can see her. So since the camera is a bit limited, we'll have me and Vignesh on the screen, and she'll come in if needed. So let me begin with a set of slides and quickly go through this. Okay, so that's the set of slides. I think the first few slides I'm going to skip. I think most of you know enough and more about this. Let me start with one. Since this is a data science program, here is a bunch of data thrown at you, and all of you can make your own interpretations now, right? So this is just what has happened in the qualifiers and people applying for the qualifiers. So we had 30,000 people apply first time, huge record number, then about 10,000 in the April. The September number is around 12,000. I think it's a little higher than that, right? About 14,000 or something. And you can see the 2021 batch is really low. Nobody from there has applied yet. I think that's because of the COVID delays and all that. JEE itself has not happened, and all of those problems. So maybe the January term will be the bigger term this time. We'll wait and see. But it's good to see that even in the September application, the diversity of candidates is still being maintained. Quite a large range of ages in the program, different backgrounds. The gender split is also reasonable. So everything is being maintained throughout. So that's something we watch, and that's good to see. Okay, and even diversity in terms of states is again being maintained. I mean, almost every state reasonably represented in proportion. That's good to see. We are also beginning to see an international audience. So that's something new in September. We are opening up registrations for people from outside India as well. It is possible for you to do that. Even if you have to travel, it's possible as well. Okay. Okay, so this is one slide which I want to share with at least the students in the diploma program. So how people have moved through the program. In the Jan term, about 7,000 registered. Those who passed at least one course is 6,000. So that's a fairly large number. I think you can imagine English as one course where everybody passed. So some of them, some didn't make it through in the first term, and though some of them registered in the second term, etc. Is this series of numbers that we are tracking as to what happened. So overall, I think a fairly large something happened. What happened? Did we get kicked out? Are we in the Balaji? Are we still there?
Yes, sir.
I'm there. It's still live. I think I had to stop sharing for some reason. I don't know why.
No, somebody. I just a minute, sir.
I shared again. Okay.
Okay.
So you can see that.
Yes.
Okay, so let's continue. So you can, I mean, I don't know if I really have an inference at the end of all these numbers. It's just that people are progressing. You can see this 1229, 1,229. These are the number of students who are eligible for the diploma right now. And out of that, about 1,000 have already registered, I think, for the diploma in this immediate term. So there's a fairly large number of students who are proceeding in breakneck speed to try and finish all the requirements as soon as possible. But there are other people who are doing it a bit slower as well as they progress. Okay, so just to show that how things are progressing in the program. This is again the same data but represented term wise and course wise, right? You can figure out which is the most difficult course. I think maybe I should ask you to put in the chat what do you think out of the 8 courses, what in your opinion is the most difficult course that you saw in so far, right? So I think somebody saying BDM is difficult. It's not yet come. I think so far in the foundation course, which one was the most difficult? So let's just yeah, most people are saying math 2. I think math 2, stats 2. Yeah, I guess that will be a consensus. Math 2, stats 2. Oh, somebody says programming with Python was difficult. So I guess it's there. But if you see from the number of people who passed, I think, oh, somebody's saying nothing. Wow, that's great to see. So, so I think from the numbers, clearly, I think Stats 2 has been the toughest one. I think followed very closely by Math 2. So those 2 courses are the toughest ones in the qualifiers. So let's see going forward whether it becomes easier or not. And I think getting through foundation is clearly a very significant significant hurdle that you've crossed. I think it's great to see so many people the appeared and could find the time and the energy to do these 8 courses in 2 terms and carry on. So it's fantastic to see that. This number also shows you something interesting. So now this is the number of courses that were cleared, right? How many people cleared 4 courses, 3 courses, 2 courses, 1 course? You can see the number of people who cleared 8 courses is 1229. That's the number that's eligible for diploma right away. But quite a few in 7654, and many of them will end up joining the diploma rank soon. And hopefully, I think in January, we'll see many more people in the diploma program. Okay, so it's good to see these numbers as well. Okay, so now let's come to the candidates in the diploma program. So once again, we have a reasonable mix of people from various age groups and backgrounds also in terms of being students and employed and otherwise. And what else? I think in terms of number of courses registered for, I think there are more people registered for 3 courses and 2 courses. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And even if they had a CCC of 4, they've registered for 3 courses and 2 courses, and I would really like to congratulate them for a very good decision. I think it's, but there are still 261 who want to do all 4 courses in one term. I hope they're going to have a lot of fun this term. I think it's going to come at them at a certain pace that they would have never seen before. So I hope you can keep up. But you can see, I think a large number of people have registered for DBMS and PDSA Python, and then the lowest is business data management. The next is MAD1, which is, so we have some abbreviations. We say PDSA, DBMS, MLF, and MAD, MAD1, MAD2, BDM, etc. So I guess all these things will stick as they go along. So that's the number of registrations. It's good to see. Okay, so here are the 5 courses that are being offered at the diploma level in this term. I think that's it, right? The modern, for some reason, has been dropped.
Yes, so we're trying to not keep it mad.
Only add, huh? Okay. App dev. Okay, so there's a subtle effort being made to convert mad into reduce the madness.
Yes.
Convert mad into app dev. Okay, that's not too bad. That's anyone. I think I'm sure the people here who are involved in actual application development in their work, I think they will agree it's mad. It is a mad exercise. It's not a very well organized exercise. Okay, so grading pattern, I think Bharti is best placed to describe this. So I will turn it over to her And no, I mean, I should at least see you when you talk. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this is to give you an idea of the grading pattern. It will get published within your course. We'll be sending out announcements too, but this is just to get an idea of how it's going to be. For machine learning foundations, it's straightforward, just like we had in most of the foundational courses. You'll have 3 quizzes. The best 2 out of 3 will be taken, 50% of that, and 50% of your final term exam. So MLF does not have any additional components here. It's a straight grading pattern. For programming data structures and algorithms using Python, that one, we'll have 3 quizzes in the centers. Best 2 out of 3 will be taken, 40% weightage for that. That is going to be assigned. Final exam you'll have December 12th, that is 40% weightage. That's again in centers that you'll be taking it. And we have 1 programming exam, which will be online proctored, 20% weightage for that. That's going to be conducted on December 5th. There'll be 2 sessions. We'll ask you for your choice of session, but you'll have to attend at least one of the sessions to get this. So this is 3 quizzes, 1 final exam and 1 programming exam that forms a part of this course. Okay, this is PDSA Python. Okay, then comes this complicated one where the whole slide is the grading pattern for this course. So this is business data management. So firstly, one probably what we're going to depart from what we did in foundational courses is there are not going to be too many activity questions, practice questions, and that kind of things in the weekly
It's a very different type of course. I mean,
yeah. So you're not going to have that same thing, and there's no eligibility criteria to take the final exam. The previous 2 courses as well as the other 2 courses, the eligibility is going to remain. The best 6 out of 9 we will be taking, and you have to get more than 40 out of 100 to be eligible to take the final exam. That's going to remain in the other 4. For this course, there is no eligibility criteria to take the final exam, which means that all of you can write the final exam. But the grading pattern is going to be this. There are only 2 in-center quizzes, October 10th, October 31st. The November 21st one is not going to be there for the BDM candidates. So that is something. Out of these 2 quizzes, the 1 best quiz score will be taken, and that is 20% of your total final score. So that is component 1. Then you have 5 assignments that are going to come out in these weeks, week 4, 6, 8, 9, 11. And these have to be submitted with the same 10-day period that you'll have as time. And these will be manually graded. It's not an auto-grading kind of an assignment. This is something where you'll be given data sets.
Yeah, these are very different assignments. So don't think of this as like your.
It's not a 10 MCQ or something
not.
like that. So you're given data sets, you're supposed to parse it, you're supposed to derive some information out of it and give you all.
You also have to go out and collect some data. That is a different.
Yeah, that comes in the course project. Yeah. So this part is 5 assignments. We can have Professor GV probably is joining at around 7 p.m. He said he can probably give you more overview. Otherwise, you might have seen the video that we had from them during the other course orientation also. So that should give you an idea of how this course is going to run. But basically, these 5 assignments are going to come out in these weeks that are mentioned here. We will take the best 3 out of 5, and that will come for 30 marks of the final total score. So that's going to be 3 into 10. If somebody does 2 more and not does all 5, like you do all 5 and not just the 3, sorry, that other 2 assignments, whatever marks you get will be prorated for an extra 5 bonus marks that we will add to your total. So that is going to be the second component of your grading for this course. The third component is a course project that you will have to submit by December 1st. They will give you details around week 5 or week 6 is what we have been told. You'll be given time, and there'll be one intermittent, probably by week 8, you'll have to submit an interim report on your progress is what they are planning for. But the final submission is on 1st December 2021. Before that, we'll have to do this. The course project details, they will outline it as the course progresses. And based on this project, you will have a Viva that will be conducted between December 2nd and 10th. So we'll open up slots for you that you can book as per your convenience. You'll have to attend that particular slot, and the Viva will be conducted on this project. This is 20 marks, okay? And the NSEM marks is again different from the other NSEM you would have seen. Basically, the paper will be for 50 marks. There are 2 sections in it. One for 30 marks, which is compulsory to be attended by everyone. And there is an additional 20 marks component here in the final exam. So there are multiple options for students here. If you do not want to do the course project, which contributes 20 marks to the final total, you can attempt your NSEM exam for 30 plus 20, 50 marks, and that will go for your course marks, right? That is one option. So somebody saying that I cannot do the project, or maybe didn't, is probably not having the time, or whatever reason you don't do it. This is one option that they are saying. So that's the first point we have written. Students who cannot do the course project can opt to do 50 marks NSEM exam. Suppose somebody has done the course project also, somebody has attempted the Viva too. You can also attempt 30 plus 20, or you can do just 30. So if you attempt just the 30 marks in the final exam, this 30 plus your course project of 20 will get evaluated towards your final course marks. Or if you attempt the 20 marks additional, that will again be prorated for an additional 5 marks, which will be bonus. So typically a student can attempt this entire course for either 100, 105 or 110. Of course, we will cap it to 100 finally. But this is the way that the assessment for this particular course goes. So there are 4 components. Just to reiterate, no weekly assignments like you have been getting for practice. No eligibility criteria to take the final exam. You have only 2 in-center quizzes that are going to be there, which is October 10th and 31st. You have 5 assignments, out of which you can submit 3 or 4 or 5, which is going to give you 30 marks for the total. You have a course project, which is optional. You can do it, or you can attempt your final exam, which is 30 plus 20. That is something that.
So there will be no practice assignments, no
They're
MCQ
trying to do
questions?
something to the economics part and all, but it's not going to be exhausted in the sense of training them in some sense.
No, then the questions that will come in the quiz.
They're giving some
Give some.
questions, but it's not like, it's not going to be like activity, practice, graded, mock. It's not going in that level. But there are enough and more videos, there are enough tutorials that are coming out, enough practice that they're explaining everything to you. But they're expecting students to learn more from that rather than.
Okay, anyway, so maybe we can take a couple of minutes if there are any quick questions on this. It's quite an elaborate description and different from what we normally do. So in case anyone has questions, you can put it out on the chat.
Maybe if someone can clearly explain this for them, we can give them a certificate.
Almost so many times of rereads, that even today we can say this, but we know it. So the team, yesterday I gave it to Amita and I said, now you start by having this, you have to scope it. So,
No questions. I think the students are completely clear on what this is.
unless totally our feed has not gone out and they don't want to know anything, that's it.
Yeah, all in-center exam questions will be objective type.
Objective plus descriptive. So there are, courses in which it is becoming objective plus descriptive. It's not just going to be an MCQ. They might give you something and ask you to explain your inferences results. Yes, there are questions.
So there will be some essay type questions. So as you go progress further, since once the numbers of students reduces, faculty will give you questions which will be essay type also.
Yeah, please give us more time than the standard 10 days for assignments from another. We'll have to see, maybe for this course we can ask and see, but for all the other courses you're going to have 12 assignments as usual, so I don't think we'll deviate from the 10-day schedule for it. Has a BDM-like course been conducted for the MBA students or other students?
Yeah, they do have a course, some sort of similar to this.
So they have conducted courses here internally, which is has been the basis for this particular course. In fact, if you see the syllabus for this course, it's very interesting. There are 5 different.
I don't know if this course is done. The business
analytics course.
This one is new. This one is completely new.
Yeah. So, Shyam, I don't know whose volume is low because I think I'm pretty loud. Maybe Anvasar's is. You have to clarify on whose volume is low here. I do not know. So, you have to go back and look at the syllabus also. Syllabus is pretty interesting, or go back and look at the course orientation video if somebody has missed it. Those are registered for BDM. There are 5 domains that they're handling in this particular course, and there are experts from 5 different companies also having shared sample of their data that is getting analyzed through the course too. So it's a very different course from whatever you would have studied in your foundational levels, I think. So hopefully it's challenging, but also interesting and kind of maybe eye-opener at some level. I do not know. We'll take questions later.
Yeah, sure.
It's coming.
Yeah,
they can talk to us also, right?
That's
better.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, DBMS, again, another complicated.
Okay, it's a full slide thing for database management systems. This is going to be.
I think if they can understand the grading pattern, like it says, they should get some marks.
Okay.
It's complicated. I'm not getting confused.
Okay, so in DBMS weeks 1 and 4 to 12, The weekly assignments are going to be only objective type. There is not going to be much of what you're going to be tested on in terms of query or something like that. Of course, the questions will involve those concepts, but it's going to be objective the way that they are testing you. But weeks 2 and 3, it is going to be a mix of objective type assignments as well as something on this PostgreSQL. PostgreSQL. Yeah, something else. Then yeah, she's there. She should actually tell me that. So this is auto-evaluated on the portal. So this is something that they're going to ask you. And these two assignments, again, we've highlighted in red that there are going to be practice assignments for this and there will be graded assignments for this. And if students, only if you attempt the practice assignments will we be taking your graded assignments into consideration. This is something that we want to see because there is a way in which the queries are going to get executed, evaluated against whatever we have. If you're not familiar with it, your graded assignments may not work and then there'll be contests. So we wanted to ensure that you're familiar with practice assignments, then come to the graded assignments. So this is the way that we are going to evaluate your weeks 2 and 3 assignment. The same thing will hold here. The best 6 out of 9 assignments will be taken, score will be taken for eligibility for the final exam. So for this course that will hold. If you look at quizzes, there are 3 quizzes in person which have to be taken, of course, at the TCS centers. The first and the third quizzes are going to have a mix of objective and subjective kind of questions, which might be based on some queries, understanding of concepts or whatever. They might be asking you certain things. So it's not going to be just an MCQ or MSQ at some level, but it's going to be a mix of it. And the quiz 2 is going to be 100% objective is what we have been told. Best 2 out of 3 is going to contribute 30% to the final score. It is not 50% like we normally do. It is only 30% here. And there is a Viva which is being scheduled and planned for between November 15th and 30th. And this will be about 30 to 45 minutes we are expecting per student, which will be conducted by the team here and some other people who are experts in the subject. We will open slots. You can select your slot and you'll have to come in that slot. You'll be tested on concepts, maybe asked to write queries on the fly there, given a data set there, given a database there, and any such thing. They will be able to give you more details as the live sessions progress, I think. So 20% towards the final score goes from this particular Viva. And please note, mandatory to complete Viva to get the course grade. So even if you do the quizzes, you come for the final exam, the TCS, do not go through the Viva. The course grade is going to be incomplete. We will not be letting you get to the next course. So it is mandatory to complete. Flexibility is built in that we have 15 days over which the Viva is going to be conducted. There will be multiple slots, multiple people you can schedule.
We will not be able to extend beyond
this. Yeah, beyond this we don't, because I'll show you the next set of dates we have. But in this 15 days, you all have to complete your Viva and book your slots and do it. Again, reiterating, mandatory to complete Viva to get your course grade here. Okay. The final exam is again going to be a mix of objective, subjective, in person at TCS centers. 50% of your total score comes from this. So this is DBMS for you. And lastly, you're getting ABDEM again, which is something like this. So week 1 is just basic concepts. So it's 100% objective. I'm talking about the weekly graded assignments first. Weeks 2 and 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9. We call it lab assignments. They are equivalent to not just plain programming assignments, but you'll be writing some parts of an application. Either you'll be writing the front-end CSS, HTML, which gets evaluated, or maybe something more that you have to do. You'll start developing the backend for the application and so on. So that will be 25% lab assignments and 75% which will be objective. So every week you will have one, which is a quiz, which is auto-graded. A couple of them. In some weeks, you're going to have 1. In some weeks, you're going to have 2 or maybe even 3 applications that you have to submit that will be evaluated by the team. Could be auto-evaluated, or we'll take it, we'll do an offline assessment and we'll give it back to you. If you're able to see, this lab assignments that you're going to do is going to contribute 10% to your final score. And that is only the lab assignments. This is not the auto-graded assignments we are going to take for the 10%. Whatever applications you develop, submit, and the marks you get, the average of the best 6 out of 9 from that is going to go for your final score. 10% goes from here. Weeks 10 and 11 are a complete project that you need to develop. You need to develop on Replit. Maybe do a local version, also send us zip files, and we'll be evaluating it. So the last date to do this submission is going to be November 28th. As such, this project A Viva will be conducted, and that is where your marks will come from. If we go through the exams that we have on December 5th, there is one optional that we have put for now because we are still not clear on whether we are going to do it or not. Looking at the performance, the faculty wanted to also do it. So December 5th, keep your calendars open. There might be a coding test. We will announce it at least maybe 6 weeks ahead, whether we are doing it or not. And this will be online proctored from your houses that we are going to take. And this is a bonus of 10 marks. It's not counted in the total of 100. This will be on top of the 100 that you can get. So this is on December 5th. The date is fixed though. Whether we are going to run it, we'll have to confirm to you. Quiz 1 to 3. Yes, we are going to have in-person at the centers. And it will be objective with some parts probably being descriptive also to test concepts. Best 2 out of 3, 40% of your total score. Again, it's not 50. Noted that it's 40. Then we have a Viva on the project. So November 20th, you're going to submit your project here. From December 1 to 10, we are going to schedule slots and we are going to do Viva again for you. And there might be some part of coding you're going to do as they ask you during the Viva. It might be based on the project that you have done, maybe some concepts you know, and that is going to be 20% of your final score. Again, note, mandatory to complete Viva to get your course grade. You cannot skip the Viva and do the other parts and get your course grade. So it's going to be mandatory here. And the MSEM exam is again going to be in TCS centers in person. 30% is going to be your coming from this. So as you can see, the DBMS is going to have a Viva component. Active is going to have a Viva component. The BDM is going to have a Viva component. 3 courses are going to have Viva components. Programming exam, the PDSA Python is going to have it. This is going to have a project. BDM is going to have a project that is there. If you go to the next slide, I've just summarized the. So these are the broad dates that you already know, but course-wise, I've just put a summary here. So these are what you can look at and mark on your calendars for scheduling, which you definitely cannot miss if you're looking at this particular semester. October 10th is going to be your first quiz. All the 5 courses have the quiz scheduled that day. October 31, quiz 2, all 5 courses are going to run that particular day. November 21st, quiz 3, BDM alone is not coming because as I said, they have only 2 quizzes. The other 4 courses will have quiz on November 21st. December 12th is your annual exam, final exam. Same model we follow. Morning 2 courses, afternoon 2 courses. By October 1st week, we will announce to you morning which exams you'll write, afternoon which exams you'll write. We just have to consolidate, look at all the student registrations and we'll finalize and give you the date by October 1st week that on December 12th, morning what you'll write, afternoon what you'll write. So that will get done. You will have, sorry, I think I missed the BDM EndSem exam that I'll have to correct. Okay, I'll do that. And now.
This is a Y, right?
Yeah, that's it.
December 12th for BDF, it's a Y.
It's a Y. Yeah, that got missed.
Let me do it right away.
I have it. I can't do it.
No.
It'll come
I
from you
can
only.
do
No, about that.
About that.
this one, right?
Yeah.
Y.
Okay. And then November 15th to 30th, you'll have your DBMS Viva. On 28th November, you submit your project for AppDev 1.
Oh.
December.
Digital annotation in course. Sorry.
On December 1st, you submit the project for BDM. December 5th, you have the online proctored programming exam for PDSA and AppDev 1. You have the tentative coding thing that we have done. December 1st to 10th is the Viva for both BDM and AppDev that we have scheduled. And for graded assignments for BDM, I'm not given the exact schedule, the 5 weeks that I showed you. Check your course page. In those particular weeks, the graded assignments are going to come. So this is your grading scheme for this particular.
I frankly think 4 courses is just murder semester, but I guess
You can probably
people will do what they think. So I think a very aggressive grading and all this is also on YouTube. What happened?
Some screenshot of that.
Okay. No, I mean, I think there's some comments going on.
Yeah, so this
Sharing this thing.
comment. One S.R. Srinivasan has written the grading pattern is a data science project by itself.
Yeah, I think the number of students this time allows us to do all these things. I mean, as we go along, I don't know how much we'll do. We'll see. Yeah. Okay, so these are pictures from the portal. I don't think these students need
Yeah, they
this.
know all this. Syncing the calendar, you might want to remind them because.
Yeah, sync your calendar. Make sure you sync your calendars. That's all. It's the last thing.
Yeah, they know all this. We thought we can run through that.
Tips to prepare well, different ways, pathways to study. It's not needed. Student life, learner support. This we should
This
talk
probably
about.
you should.
Yeah, so let me remind you about this. This is something the Senate has decided a little while ago. This is things like academic malpractice. I'm just informing people. I don't think it's a big danger or anything, but there is a set of graded punishments that people will get for different types of offenses. I think I should let Vignesh talk about it. It was last time he spoke in the wonderful job. So Vignesh, go ahead.
Okay. So basically, any kind of academic malpractice or non-academic violation of code of conduct, there are various types of punishments which have been approved by the Senate, and this is similar to what we have for our on-campus program. So any kind of academic malpractice like unfair communication during an assignment or an exam, or using materials or devices which are not allowed, impersonation, plagiarism, forging documents, etc. There is a range of punishments which can be handed out. It can be 1 grade less in one course, or 1 grade less in all courses, U grade in the particular course, or U grade in all courses. So it can also go to debarring from registering for the next term, or expulsion from the program. So you can just give me.
Yeah, I'll do it. We'll do it.
Okay, so in case of non-academic behavior, non-academic misconduct, like where you have violation of code of conduct, like rude behavior or impersonation, spreading false information, cyberbullying, and sharing the program-specific communication to others, and so on. Again, there are punishments. So there can be a simple probation and a warning associated with it, or the credit carrying capability can be reduced. So from 4 to 3 or 3 to 2 and so on. And there can be debarment from participating in internship and placement processes, or for serious offenses or repeated offenses, the learner can be rusticated from the program as well. So there are certain web etiquette. I'm assuming most of you have been using the different forums, email communication, and so on. So you must be familiar with it. But anyways, it's important that we remind you of what is expected. So during all communications, please treat everyone with the same respect that you would like to receive. You have to be courteous to everybody, like the students, support staff, instructors, and faculty. You can help each other. You can raise your concerns, but be polite and courteous while you are doing that. Instead of pointing out errors or mistakes made by others in a public forum, you can always reach out to them, communicate it politely in a private environment, and try to get it rectified. You can also write to support staff. The support staff will respond within a reasonable period of time. So you can understand, and you need to understand and respect the diversity and dignity of everybody. So this is a unique program. As you know, there are people from all backgrounds, all ages. So it is important that you do not post something which is offensive or discriminatory. You need to understand that what you might consider to be okay might actually be offensive to someone else. So you need to be sensitive to the feelings of others, and you need to behave appropriately. So cyberbullying is one thing where we take it very seriously. So we have a serious, there are serious consequences for cyberbullying. We will have serious disciplinary actions. So cyberbullying is basically any aggressive intentional act or behavior that is characterized, carried out by an individual or a group, and it can also be repeated against one group or a person. So this kind of this basically, when it happens in an electronic form, we categorize it as cyberbullying. So what happens is there is always some repeated aggressive behavior which tends to humiliate, scare, anger, or shame people, and this kind of behavior is completely unacceptable, and there will be serious consequences. Here are a bunch of examples. So some of these are clearly violating the rights of another person, and you are threatening or so on. So the examples are spreading false information or lies, trolling or circulating memes that are actually aimed to ridicule or humiliate another person, or impersonating someone, hacking into personal accounts, sending abusive, threatening or hurtful messages, and harassing someone in general. sharing private information like private messages or pictures which might have been shared in private to others and threatening or blackmailing to do so using these private messages as a way to threaten people or uh, threatening with the act of violence or threats of pornography, stalking someone, all these are serious offenses. Stalking someone is something which we need to understand what it is. So please do not engage in repeated contact with someone when they are actually not interested. When somebody says they are not interested in continuing the conversation or engaging in a dialogue, it is important that you stop and don't harass the person again and again. So that can be treated as cyberbullying and there will be serious consequences for it. So sexual harassment is also a serious offense and any form of it will not be tolerated and there are provisions to take very serious actions. So that some of these with respect to cyberbullying and sexual harassment can even be criminal behavior. So sexual harassment, when it comes to sexual harassment, we need to understand that any unwelcome behavior is considered to be sexual harassment. And the person who is at the receiving end is the one who decides what is unwelcome. It cannot be that the person who's acting can say that, oh, I didn't think it was unwelcome. So that's not acceptable. So the person who is the victim or person who is at the receiving end is the one who decides it. So please be very careful. So some of the examples which are shown here would be like sending sexual content without their consent or making unwanted sexual advances or requests for sexual favors or sexualized comments, sharing photographs and so on. All these are serious offenses. There can be serious consequences within the program and outside the program as well. Somebody who actually goes through, somebody who faces these, please do not feel embarrassed. Feel free to complain to us, bring it to our notice. We will take necessary action. It is your fundamental right to have a harassment-free workplace. So this environment where you are able to get this education should actually have that kind of a conducive environment. So in case you are facing some of these challenges, please keep record of all the notes or messages and SMS and whatever emails. And you can write to us on students-grievance@onlinedegree.iitm.ac.in and we will take necessary action against violators. So please be careful. Please understand that this can be a criminal offense. If somebody who's facing these issues goes to the police, you will face criminal charges for many of these actions with respect to cyberbullying and sexual harassment. So please be careful. Do not violate some of these policies. So I think that pretty much covers most of the aspects that we wanted to share. We'll be happy to answer queries from your side.
Yeah, you could raise your hand if you have a query, and then we'll actually let you talk. I think you can also talk. I think that should be possible. Raise your hands, but I think people are also asking on the chat box. If there's some question, you can read out. If then maybe we can also talk. Yes, you will get these slides. I think everybody is asking repeatedly for these slides. These are not protected property. It's of course going out on YouTube. So you will get these slides 100%. Don't worry. We will give you these slides. Okay. So is it a individual project or is it a group project? There's a question on that. There is someone who has finally raised their hand. Yes. Trivikram. Go ahead, Trivikram. I think you should be able to talk now. Yeah.
Hello, good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am.
Yes. Yes.
So, sir, it's been a fun term, a fun first year, first of all. It's been very exciting. Thank you for delivering those great lectures to us, especially in stats. Sir, my question is, the first quiz is dated on 10th of October. As per my understanding, it is supposed to be at the end of the first month. So, and the timeline between the first quiz and the second is, I mean, relatively very low compared to other term exams that we had. So, can we push it a little earlier? Because in 21 days, I mean, it's a little this thing.
It's actually, see, previously we used to have after weeks 1 to 3 supposed to be quiz 1, right? So typically week 3 quiz will, the week 3 assignment will close in the mid of week 4. And week 4, that weekend is normally slotted for the quiz. What we have done this time is because the qualifier is starting to overlap with the first month of the term. We are just overlapping your quiz 1 with the qualifier exam also. So if you look at actually the timeline for this particular term, it is now going to the weekend of week 5. That's why you're seeing 1 week delay. Otherwise, it should have been maybe October 3rd by our thing. But October 2nd was also something we were in between. I think the puja or something comes there. So we're not able
October 3rd is also JEE.
Yeah. So because of dates availability, it's gone to October 10th. And week 6 is actually coming in week 7 end, which is October 31st. So typically, yes, once you start off, it's 3 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks, and your final counts. That's how the term is going this time. And if you have programming exams in between, yes, they also do come in between. That's why we repeatedly were saying over the last 10-15 days, saying do 2 courses, 3 courses, and
So study every week, Trivikram, rather than every day, every hour, every minute, every second. So yeah, I think Chandan Kumar has his hands raised. So let me unmute him. I think I did unmute him. So yes, Chandan Kumar, go ahead.
Good evening. It's a really wonderful experience for all of us. And I was very much active on this course and raising questions and also arguing many times. So sorry for all the inconvenience which I have caused personally.
Okay.
But okay, my query is quite different. It's like I'm not exposed to any project in my life so far. So
Any
also,
project?
yeah,
Okay.
so I have not done any project. So I do not have the exposure, like how to start doing things like this. I can
Okay.
understand concept, I can solve question. That's the only skill I have. But any academic skill, I don't have. I mean, I lack a lot of academic because maybe I have never been to school, so I just did my thing. I never been to 12th, I just did my
So
12th.
this is
I
your
just
chance to learn all that. Okay. So figure out.
some,
I'm
yeah.
sure.
So
I'm
my
sure
query
you'll
was
do
like,
fine. You know, it'll be something interesting for you to pick up and do projects. It'll not be like, it won't be so ill-defined and all that. This is, after all, a course project. It's not a research project. So it'll be well-defined for you. So you will know what to do. And hopefully, I think given the strong student community here, people will, I'm sure there are experts here who have done hundreds of projects in their lives. So they will help out with some critical information. I hope that will happen. So you should be able to manage that. I don't think that's a significant challenge. Okay. Okay. I think people are repeatedly raising hands. I would like new people to raise hands. Trivikram seems to have. I think once you've raised hand, maybe we
looks
should.
Madhav is joined.
Oh, he's joined. Okay. All right. Good. GV is not joined, is it?
Not yet, I think.
Okay.
So you can ask President.
But he's not doing a project, right?
No.
So if in case he wants to say something about, I don't see Madhavan at all.
He said I've joined on the chat.
Chat.
No,
He's here. He's here.
Madhavan.
Oh, I'm not able to make him host. Why? Because I'm not host myself.
I think it might be the co
Balaji, can you make Professor Madhavan Mukund as co-host?
Yes, sir, doing.
Okay. Madhavan, if you'd like to say a few words about PDSA Python, please go ahead. I think you're being made co-host momentarily. I think GV has also joined. So let me first invite. Madhavan is talking French language. It's not his language. It's some other song. Oh no, something is wrong with the audio. We are not hearing you. Yeah, like Jaydev says, we are hearing you in binary, ones and zeros. No.
Oh, it's really bad.
It's really bad. We're not able to hear you. Want to try disconnecting your audio and connecting again.
Or the headphones.
Oh no, it's not working. Okay. So maybe we'll go to Professor GV first then. GV, would you like to talk? I think there are a lot of questions on the BDM course. The people had some questions on, I think, so Partha PPD has also joined. So let's start with GV then. GV, would you like to introduce the BDM course a little bit?
Okay, so I mean this is an introductory course to business, right? So what is business is what we want to introduce in this course. So, but again, seeing just like computational thinking introduce you to computation, programming, and everything else. This is a course about business. Again, seen through the lens of a data scientist. Okay, so the idea here is that we want to first give you a background for some economics, right? Rudimentary. I mean, I wouldn't say it's big, major amount of economics. Don't get scared. Very basic things like what is utility, how do you measure demand, how do you aggregate, customer satisfaction information or something like that, to look at utility, as it's called, to calculate demand, and look at the change of demand with various parameters like price or income or things like that. So we introduced all that at the beginning, the first 3-4 weeks, and then after that we want to take you into case studies. So we have a case study from Flipkart. We have a case study from, I mean, of course, it's a fictitious. It's data is taken from Flipkart, but fictitious data. And we have something from Flipkart. We have something from PayPal. We have a case study from HR, from Mercer Consulting, HR kind of a case study, and then one from a manufacturing sector. So we have given you 4 case studies that hopefully with those case studies, the data that is coming from those cases, and then how do you answer some questions using the data, you will hopefully get a good insight into how people work inside companies, right? What goes on inside different functional organizations in a company. What happens in sales, what happens in finance, what happens in the operations, manufacturing operations, what happens when you have to do a portfolio management or something like that. So these kind of things you will get a view of, and all seen from the point of view of data sets. Everything is based on data sets and dashboards. So how do you present all this, process these data sets and make dashboards out of them, so that you can make select a good, fairly interesting PowerPoint presentation that you can present to the management. So to make it interesting for you, we have done most of it via the same model that we did in CT, which is a discussion-oriented thing. So, the first part of it, Suresh Babu, who is a professor of economics in IIT Madras, and we get into a discussion on various things, and you will learn hopefully some economics like that. And then in the second part, case studies are again done. Milind, there's a person called Milind Gande who is part of IIT Bangalore, and we actually have a discussion on how to process data sets and so on. And then we bring in experts where needed. So we get an expert from PayPal, he talks to us, he gives us the data. Then we do some work, we report it back to him, he comments on it. The whole thing is like that. Okay, so you will hopefully, get a feel for what goes on inside a business. You will learn various kinds of simple Excel, I would say spreadsheet tricks, right? How to use a pivot table to organize your data correctly, how to take that pivot table, convert it into a chart, how do you present this chart to somebody, all these kind of things you will learn. And also you will learn, at the same time, you will also learn how a business is run, how is it managed, what are the KPIs of different functions, all that. So that is basically what this business data management course is. It's actually managing businesses using data, as I would write. That is really what the course is about. And I hope you enjoy the course. You will learn a lot, I'm sure, but might find a little bit, it looks like somewhat chaotic going here and there and all. But as you get into the flow of things, you will enjoy it.
Thanks, GV. I think there was one question from a student who said he has never done a project in his life. He has only done academic work, right, exams.
So this course requires a lot of hands-on. Yes, Andrew. So it's a good thing you brought it up. So for every case study, we will have hands-on assignments. You will have to work on that. So the data set, we will do some things with the data set, but we also expect that you will do something with the same data set and submit as an assignment. So this is less quiz-oriented. It is much more assignment-oriented course, because the course is of that nature. And we expect that every student also does a course project And I'm very fond of giving these kind of field projects where I expect people to go on the field and do things. So in this course also, we will expect that students will go out and collect data from some enterprise. We will help you with that, okay? We'll help you to identify enterprise. If you can't identify enterprise, we will do something and make sure you get hold of some data so you can do something. But we would like you to go and talk to somebody, a kirana store, a restaurant, anybody in your neighborhood is into business, and talk to that person, submit a survey form, fill a survey form based on your questions from that person, and you collect data over a certain period of time and then present that analysis of the data in the same way that we have done analysis of data, process data and subsets from companies. So whatever we have done, we expect you to do with your own data, with your own neighborhood firm. And that is the real way to learn. I mean, when you do that, you will really learn things. You will learn how hard it is to collect data. You will find out how difficult it is to get people to share with you information. All that you will learn. Okay. And it is important to learn these things because when you go out and work with companies, you will find similar issues like this. So these are hurdles that you better get across while you are studying rather than when you get to work, because there's nobody to help you. Here we are out here to help you. So you should go past those hurdles here. Then whatever you learn from here, I think will be very useful when you get to jobs. The most important thing I think is that if you do a good course project, you can write it in your resume. Because if you have not done a project before, your resume looks a little weak. But this project you can definitely write in your resume. Even if you're applying abroad for a higher studies or something like that, if you're doing a project of this kind, especially if it is with a poor entrepreneur, a small time entrepreneur like an iron, a guy who's pushing vegetables or something like that, this you can write as a social thing, right? I mean, these are very important things when you apply abroad and all that to show that you have done something for society. So you can say that you have tried to do something, right? And so I think it helps build your resume also.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about that at all. Thanks, GV. I think Professor Partha Pratim Das is also here. First time we have a faculty from IIT Kharagpur who's going to join us in this program. Warm welcome to him. Let's just clap hands electronically. I think there's a way to clap hands and welcome Professor Partha Pratim Das. Would you like to say a few words, Professor Das? Go ahead. I think you're on mute. You're on mute. I think you're on mute.
Yeah, mute him.
Yes, please go ahead, Professor Das.
I'm not able to hear.
No, I think there's some issue with the audio. I think we're not able to hear you. Seem to have.
Am I audible now?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for taking me in the fold, because it's a unique experience not only for the students but for us. We haven't ever done something like this. And students, you'll get tired of seeing me in the database management systems course. And while Professor Venkatesh is dealing with managing business with data, the course that I would be taking you through is the business of managing data. So that's the database management systems, as the name suggests. And the two difficult parts of that will be done by Professor Venkatesh. One is how to collect and curate and collate data. That's a very important part. It's good to say that we have a large data, but how does the data come in? That's a great thing which I had thought of talking a little bit in the course, but I really did not have time. And it's great that Professor Venkatesh is going to do hands-on on that. So that will be a great experience for you as you finally assimilate the whole system together. And the other part that you will benefit significantly, which the database management system course does not talk about, is what you do with the data that you have managed. How do you consume that data? Right, so that part is again what Professor Venkatesh's course is going to do. In the middle, assuming that you have a data which is sensible, which is curated, which is coherent, which is constraint satisfying, and so on, but along with the fact that it is growing, It is large in volume. It needs fast processing. It has any range of, like he was talking about Kirana store. Kirana store kind of, there are maybe 5 users. 2 big organizations like banks, which have 100,000 users. 2 like Amazons, which have billions of users. So what are the range of technologies that you need to know, that you need to learn? Manage these kind of data in a consistent way, in a cost-effective way, and in a way so that it can keep on going with the technology, with the times, and with all the reliability that we are working with. So you'll see in the course that I have talked about some sample applications. I was writing them on a slide. I wanted to have one slide only on sample application spaces, and I started using normal font size, then came to small, then to, finally I stopped at the script size because it was not remaining readable, and then still I had so many applications to talk about. So one great advantage the database management system gives you is the ability to, or the skill, get into any application, model it in terms of the data that has been acquired through the training from Professor GB, and process it at the effectively required speed and size of the user and the application, and then again present it to the required stakeholders, as Mr. Venkatesh was telling you. So you can see that it's not only that you are having a couple of courses, but these courses are synergistic. And along with this database management course, most of you, I think you'll be taking the application development course, where Professor Nitin is taking you through, if you have the database management capabilities, then how do you actually make the different user interactions, different processing, different language programming, and so on and so forth. And that will be, again, a course which will be very much project oriented, because you really need to write applications with the knowledge of databases that you have learned we are using SQLite or PostgreSQL, some of the open free database system. And once you look at all these 3 together, you have an enormous skill developed, acquired through it, if you have practiced them really well, to get you to the point of where you can really start becoming a good data scientist. I'm sure you have done some statistics part of it already. You will probably like to pick up some part in terms of NoSQL and kind of non-relational databases as well. But it's going to be tough. Don't shy away from that. I would not say that the course is difficult. It is no rocket science, but the course is not easy. Not put in a lot of effort. We all have been working really hard to make these courses and this whole framework work. And we would expect that you can put in that kind of effort and make this program really a success, not only for your own future to come, which has enormous opportunities, but also for the future of this program. Take things forward. Some people were asking in the chat in terms of prerequisites. One generic prerequisite is programming and data structure, which I'm sure you all have. So what I have done is I have tried to issue mostly that you do not have enough background in programming, data structure, algorithms. So whenever specific information about different data structures have been required, in the module itself, I have taken half a module, or in that cases, one module to explain that. So you will find it overlap with your programming course. The other, which I'm sure you are not doing, is it needs certain background in logic, predicate logic and stuff like that. So I have in the course itself, I've given half a module of basic introduction with which you can go forward. Otherwise, rest of it database is just intuition turned into simple mathematics and a organized way of working. So I hope you will enjoy the database course along with the BDM and application development and other courses. The specific questions I'll be happy to take.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Professor Das. It was fantastic. It was a nice approach. I think pointing out the synergy between the courses is great. It's great that we have that. So let's try Madhavan once again. We tried him first time. His audio wasn't clean enough for us to hear him. So Madhavan, would you like to have another go at it?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, finally.
Yes,
Great.
yes.
Yeah, so I guess so the courses that I have coming up this term is programming data structures and algorithms. So this is a very standard course in a computer science curriculum, but hopefully it will be delivered in a way which will be compatible with what you've already learned and what you need in your courses. So there's nothing much to say about it, except that I think it's a very interesting part of computing to understand how data structures and algorithms work. And as Professor Das has said, you will need it in many other things as well. So I'm hoping that you will enjoy it, and that's nothing really much more to say from my side.
So on that very cryptic note, so I think one of the comments said we'll see a very different face of Professor Madhavan in PDSA. So,
Maybe I should say it's going to be really hard.
So I think definitely in terms of sort of analytical intensity, it's fair to say that machine learning foundations will probably be the toughest in terms of intense analytic nature. And then I think it will be followed closely by PDSA Python. So these two are going to be somewhat analytically demanding. I think, of course, all courses need a lot of work from you. The work is going to be the constant, I think. But in terms of just, in terms of, some people have a fear for some of the terms and notations and things like that. I think you'll see more of that in ML foundations and a little bit more in PDSA Python, maybe. I don't know. Was that a fair thing to say, Madhavan, or no? Like to revise that.
I mean, of course, it requires a certain amount of, but it's not, I would not say it's a very, I mean, it's not a mathematical course in the sense of, I think ML is more, requires a little bit more of conceptually more mathematical understanding. So this is, of course, needs some organized thinking, some logical thinking, some little bit of careful bean counting. But beyond that, I think it's more a question of being precise and being able to show what you're doing is right. But yeah, I don't think the type of mathematics you need for this is not very intense. So I don't think one should be scared of that.
Okay, it's a good positive way to begin the term. But I think there are about 250 students who have signed up for 4 courses. If I'm not wrong, it's DBMS and AppDev and PDSA Python and MLF. So I think those students are going to have it really, really hard.
Tough time. Sure.
That's going to be really tough. We tried very hard to convince them don't do more than 3, but some people are like, no, we want it, So I don't want to discourage them. So let's see how that goes for them. Once again, I think if there are any quick questions to the faculty, maybe I'll have some people talk. I think the next person who has people have raised their hands. I think let's start with Ananya. Ananya, can you go ahead and you must have got a request to unmute. Did you get that? Yes.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Hello. First of all, I genuinely enjoyed stats too, even though it really got me thinking. But thank you so much for teaching that course, but I really enjoyed it. And I have 2 questions. I don't know if they're necessarily academic. The first one is that the last time that there were any mock tests or anything conducted, the entire portal shut down for everyone, even though they weren't taking it. Is that something that we can look into? Because I'm guessing there are a lot more courses this time and people will need their portal open. That's one. And the second one was that will there be any way that we can conduct the quizzes in such a way that people with just 2 courses don't have to stay the entire day and things like that? Again, both are not necessarily academic. So other than that, I'm really looking forward to Diploma.
Okay, thanks, Ananya. We'll get back to you on email with those questions. If there's any questions to the faculty who are here, that would be better at this time. Maybe I think Ananya had her hand up earlier. I think we have Likith who wants to maybe. Oh no, does he want to ask? I think maybe I'll unmute Likith. Yeah,
Hello, sir.
yes, go ahead, please.
Actually, I have listened that you have said that many people have registered for 4 courses.
Yes.
I registered for 4 courses, but my 4 courses are different.
Oh, okay.
So my 4 courses are business data management, database management system, PDSA, and MLF. So could you tell how these 4 combination would be?
I think it's going to be
Anytime you do 4 courses, it's going to be a lot of work. So I don't think it matters which 4 courses. It depends a lot on
I think if you are regular, if you can afford to spend about 4 hours a day or so, right? I think at least 4 hours a day you will be okay. But you're looking at kind of commitment, I think, right?
It is okay for me to do 4 courses, so just was concerned about which combination.
Yeah, sure. I think the combination I don't think is a critical thing here. 4 itself is tough. All the best with it.
Okay, thank you.
So,
And sir, about this, I was thinking to buy a laptop through this IIT degree program.
okay.
So regarding this, they were asking some requirements of like Windows. And
Please send an email about this, okay?
I have sent, but the email reply was the normal, just a Word document.
Okay, so you can write to me if you want. I'll see in a second.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so Srinivasan, SR Srinivasan, I've sent a request for unmuting. We have a question for the faculty. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so this is for Professor GV, sir. So I went through that full presentation of BDM, so I'm quite excited. So the level of questions, right, assignments, would they be like the MBA case studies or would they be something more than that?
No, it won't be at the level of MBA case studies, because in MBA case studies, typically you are expected to do a lot of background work. You're given a fairly lot of things to read and a lot of background work before the case study can be. So it won't be that detailed, okay? Not much interpretation. What our assignments are going to be, in some sense, based on what we teach in the class. We will teach you some method, how to, for example, how to do sales trend plotting, for example, or portfolio management or some such thing. How to do that using Excel sheets and so on. And we will give you an assignment just so that you can practice that. The idea here is for you, practice makes perfect, right? So the idea is for you to practice what we are teaching so that you get your own feel for how those things work. That's basically what it is. It isn't nowhere close to MBA case study. I would say the course project that we will do in the BDM would come close to something that we would do in an MBA.
Okay, thanks, GV. I think I would like to unmute the next student. I think Parth Amol. Let me just see if he has a question. Parth, can you go ahead?
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, Parth, go ahead. Yeah.
Firstly, thank you to all the faculty for taking out so much of time. My question is to Partha Pratim Das, sir. Sir, so we had database management systems in a part of my college, and there we studied entity relationship diagrams and functional dependencies, database architectures. So how similar is that to what we will be having here?
It will be exactly the same. It's Sylvan's Scott. So you have done an undergraduate in CS, right?
No, sir. I'm actually pursuing BBA with special.
This is a standard CS course outline that you are talking of. So in this course too, we will start with the fundamentals and take people through the modeling. There will be extensive amount of SQL for query coding, processing, and then we take you through the design process, functional dependencies, multi-value dependencies, normalization, and all of that. And then delve into the physical side of the databases in terms of different B+ tree and indexing and then take into the transactions, backup, recovery, all these kind. So it's a first level standard database course, and we are primarily following Silver's spot. Though I'm referring to several different other sources as well, including my own.
Thanks, Professor Das.
Thank you, sir.
Let me unmute the next person. I think Raghuvanshi. Raghuvanshi, could you go ahead, please?
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, sir, I have a small doubt here. I am planning to go with the diploma in data science. So, given that I have enrolled to machine learning foundations and this business data management systems now. So next semester, I am not aware whether I can do in parallel. I am doing my MTech from IIT Hyderabad. So I will be giving my thesis project. So can you just share whether is it okay to do machine learning foundations practice and the third one in parallel with MTech?
So he's doing two, the machine learning
Only
foundation.
two
There
this
are only
time.
two this time.
This time only
I think
one.
data science diploma has only two courses this time.
I'm telling the next time, next semester.
Next time, all the courses will be there. You will have business analytics, ML will come, right?
techniques,
ML techniques and ML practice. You can do all three, and tools in data science. You can do all four. Yeah, in one term you can do that. I think it's not.
Okay, and one small doubt, if I am planning for only for diploma in data science from this program, so when will I be eligible to get the certificate? Because in sample certificates, it's written on 2024 July something day.
Don't go by that. I think you can finish the earliest. You can finish is September, right? This May term.
It's one diploma.
On the May term you can finish. So you will get it in September, right? August, September.
Now September and Jan he can finish.
Oh, September and Jan.
Jan.
You will get it in April.
May.
Yeah, April you can get it.
So, so basically, you need to understand that if you are going to get you'll get a provisional immediately. But if you are planning to leave the program only with that one diploma, in that case, you can actually get a final diploma as well. Because once the final diploma is issued, you cannot continue in the program beyond that. That's kind of the end point. So any kind of final diploma or degree is the end point in the program. So if you are interested in pursuing the second diploma, a provisional can be issued and you can continue in the program. So that is possible. So if not, if you want the final diploma, that can also be done. But once you complete the 6 courses, which could be as early as May, this diploma can be issued. I don't see any problem with that.
And a moment of appreciation, sir, Andrew, you really teach the stats very well. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you. let's go to Jaydev. Jaydev Deshpande, go ahead, please.
Hi, good evening. So I have a question about machine learning foundations. How much of the assessment is, and very roughly, I'm not looking for specific numbers, but how much of the assessment is going to involve solving numericals? Little bit, most of it, all of it?
I think all of it, right? I think ML foundations, all of it is going to be.
Anamika is there. If you want to
Yeah, Anamika, one of the instructors, the lead instructor, Anamika is there. I don't know if she's a co-host yet. She might be able to give you precise numbers, but my understanding is it's 100%. 100% is numerical work, right? Anamika, is that correct? Can you speak?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, Anamika, I can hear you.
Yeah, so the activity questions are mostly memory based, but if you talk about practice questions and graded questions, most of them you can say 80 to 90% are solvable, like numerical questions, because it's mostly a mathematical course. So yeah, solvable questions will be there. 80 to 90% you can say.
Okay, thanks, Anamika. Hope that answered your question, Jaydev. So it's mostly numerical. So next we have Pooja. Pooja, please go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I have a question regarding the prerequisites for the PDSA and the AppDev courses. Actually, I did my Python course just in the foundation level, and this was the first time I did it, and I'm still learning. So with the current available week 1 and week 2 lectures, I think I can go with both the courses. But not sure about upcoming weeks. So I just wanted to know, like, do one need like expertise in Python, or like can I proceed with both of these courses together?
So let me let Madhavan talk about PDSA, and I'll come in, or maybe some instructor for app dev is around. But let me let Madhavan answer the question for PDSA. Madhavan, the question is the background.
Yeah, I got the question. Yeah. So for PDSA, I think there's no problem. I don't think you need any very deep concepts in Python. Whatever you have studied, plus whatever is done in the lecture should cover anything that you need to know. So I think you should be fine. It's not a very Python intensive course in that sense. It's more about the algorithms, and the implementations are not very difficult. So I don't think you need to worry about it. I mean, you will need practice, of course, but you don't need to know anything new. That's a different issue.
Okay, thanks, Madhavan. I think from AppDev, I don't think we have any instructor from AppDev around. So I will hazard to guess that, I think AppDev also assumes only programming in Python as the prerequisite. I don't think they are expecting anything more. They may have other type of requirements, like Abhishek is there. Yeah, so I don't know if is he the same Abhishek? Are you sure?
There are two.
Yeah, I don't know who it is. So I'm not sure. So let me not go ahead. I'll just say I think it assumes all the courses are structured like that, so we don't assume anything more. AppDev is also not that Python intense, so I think you should be okay. Okay. Next we have Sharma. P. Sharma, it says. It doesn't say the full name. Could you go ahead, please?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, my question is to Madhavan, sir. In last semester, we were introduced to the topic of libraries and importing the libraries which were predefined. So in this term, do we able to get how to make those libraries, or like we don't know the background picture of those functionalities?
Well, it depends. I mean, there are lots of libraries in Python. So some we will discuss which are but not necessarily how the libraries are themselves defined, but what goes in the background in some of these things. Yes, but I don't think there will be too much of that kind of thing in the course, because the course is not specifically about Python. It's more about, as I mentioned, data structures and algorithms, using Python as the language to express these things. Not so a little bit is of the course I do talk about Python itself, how it implements things, but not in the context of how the libraries are written. So that I think once you have done all this, you should be able to go to any standard documentation which is available for this and try to figure out for yourself whatever you need to know. So that's not a big problem once you have the background, but we are not going to cover that part of it in this course.
Thanks, thanks, Madhavan. We can take maybe one or two more questions. We have Akshay next. Akshay, go ahead.
Hello, sir. Sir, I have one doubt about that. For MLF course, what is the processor is required for that? Is i5 4th generation is hello?
Oh, for MLF, what laptop? What
processor?
Oh, in the laptop. Can you email
Okay.
that, Akshay? We'll be able to answer that. Namika, I think
I just wanted to add. So this is, as we said, this is mostly a mathematical course based on the foundations of ML algorithms. So we do not expect any high-end configuration of the laptop, which this might be required for ML practices and techniques course when you actually have a lot of data to process. But for ML foundations course, since you will be learning the foundations and there'll be a lot of mathematics, we do not expect any high-end configuration.
thanks, Anamika. So we have two more questions. We'll stop with that. The next one is from Jitesh. Jitesh, yeah, go ahead.
Hello, sir. Sir, this is a request. I don't know if I would concur with other students, but just want to ask if it was possible to stagger the deadlines of assignment of all the four courses that I would be taking in one, term. Too much lot for a single day, sir.
I mean, we have a former CEO of a company. I don't know if you know, Professor GV has headed a company before. You can't go ask your clients for staggering deadlines. I don't know. Maybe I'll let him comment on whether that's possible or not. Any answers from the faculty on staggering deadlines? I think we are not going to be staggering deadlines, Jitesh. I know it's a negative answer. I'm sorry.
Asking us, the faculty will
From a
say,
practical point of view, there are only so many days and so many deadlines you can stagger. I mean, how much can you stagger?
No, I mean, you're welcome to submit the assignments early and stagger it yourself.
Yeah, you're welcome to submit it early, Jitesh. I think that's the answer. Okay, that's a good answer, I think. Thanks.
There's one question on the chat which says, Professor Das, was there a particular reason why PostgreSQL was chosen?
Yeah, so Professor Das, there's a question on why PostgreSQL and why not something else.
Okay, there are a lot of discussions within the course about where does the different database systems stand. The reason of PostgreSQL one is it is one of the most, first thing is we wanted an open system, not go with Oracle or SAP or something like that. Exactly. I'm personally not in support of all that. Postgres I chose because if you see the DB engine ranking of databases, relational databases, then it is the fastest growing open database system as of now. But that should not concern anyone because the technologies and techniques we are teaching you, I think 90% of that will be common across whatever database platform you use. In any case, you'll have to look up the specific manual. And while in the database course, we are using examples from PostgreSQL, and we'll have assignments, tutorials on that. In the app development, we are using SQLite. So you will get exposure to two of the most popular open databases. Maui SQL is also claimed to be open, but owned by Oracle. I'll keep my fingers crossed.
I think there's an employee of SAP who's on the call, who's in the program, and he's saying he wants SAP to be used.
I was very fond of Sybase, for that matter. If you are from SAP, I was a very fond programmer of Sybase. When I used to have a company of my own earlier, maybe almost 2 decades back, I was doing a lot of stock market programming in Sybase, but it lost all the way getting consumed by SAP. So it's no more a general teaching database system.
Okay, thanks, Professor Das. I think Kunal Chaturvedi wanted to ask a question, and I think I don't know if he still wants to ask a question. Let me just unmute him and see if he wants to ask. Kunal, did you want to ask a question?
No, sir, I asked my question to GP sir about the level of statistics that is going to be used in the BDM course, because at the end of statistics 2, I was a little bit uncomfortable with the level of the questions that were coming in the exam. So just wanted to ask how easy would it be to just cope up with the syllabus of the BDM.
It was a very frank question, but Kunal, I think you should brush up on those stats questions.
No, I think in BDM we don't have stats at all.
Yeah, but it will come again. I think it's come
You'll
again.
have it in other courses. You'll have it in the machine learning course. You'll see it in business analytics for sure.
Yeah, can't have data science without stats.
You can't escape stats. You have to learn stats. There's just no
I'll have to brush up on it then.
Okay, I think that's all the questions that are coming to the faculty. Let's thank all the faculty members for joining us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. I mean, you're welcome to stay onwards, but I think
it's okay. It's okay if I sign off, right?
Yes, perfectly fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, all the best, guys. Yeah, bye.
Professor JB, nice meeting you, Mukunda.
Nice meeting you.
Bye. See you.
Yes, are there other
Yes,
questions?
some quick questions. When will we be getting our foundational certificate? Will it be a hard copy or a soft copy?
Okay, so we are thinking of planning some sort of a convocation for giving out the foundation certificate. And there's a little bit of a debate that happened at the UHC meeting. We want to do something, but there's constraints of COVID are a bit of a worry, and we are trying to work it out. Sometime in the October timeframe, sometime in October, we will have an event. We'll call it the convocation ceremony for foundation level, and then we'll give it away. I think there's going to be a physical copy, right? Isn't it?
Not for foundation.
Not for foundation. Okay. Okay, so only from the diploma there is physical copy apparently. So foundation is an electronic certificate that's given to you. So that will happen sometime in October. Okay, that's the plan. Any other questions?
So the foundation certificates by October 1st week, we are just battling out the last minute registration.
Yeah, I think Tej has joined, so we can.
Is he here?
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so one of our faculty for the app dev course, you heard Professor Nitin Chandrachudan, and one of our co-faculty for that course is Tejesh. He's here on the call. So Tej, would you like to walk people quickly through in a couple of minutes through the course and just describe anything you want to say about the app dev course? There were a few questions that came specifically, but I'll ask that later. But if you want to introduce the course briefly, now is the time. Please go ahead, Tej. Thanks for joining. I think you're on mute, Tej. You're on mute. Are you speaking?
Tej, you're still on mute. We can't hear you.
Now?
Yes.
Okay. There seems to be always a problem with the microphone. Anyway, hi, my name is Tej. I work as a technical architect generally during my day job. This course is mostly about introducing to modern way of developing a scalable web application. Since it's 01 as the first part of the course, it focuses on all kinds of students, those who have already developed some kind of application or students who are new to web application development as well. We focus on developing a web application based on open source technologies. I think the course would be more practical, more rigorous than I think the previous courses that you would have probably done. I think the focus is on doing it rather than just reading it stuff. So I would be more happy if people open up an editor or whatever IDE that they have and do something along with me or along with the other professor rather than just studying the notes or things like that. The primary focus is on doing things rather than reading things. Yeah.
So let me just read out a few questions that came. The first question was, are you expecting, what kind of expertise you're expecting in Python particularly? Because this one student, she said that her Python is okay. She's done the previous Python course, but she's not, she didn't think of herself as an expert in Python. Are you expecting Python expertise? That was one question.
We don't expect super expertise, but knowing the knowledge, basics of the knowledge is very important. We really don't go into too much of object oriented or classes like that, but I think you should be able to use basic data types, should be able to write basic controls, and should be able to structure and know a little bit about how to probably install packages and instantiate some classes and use it. I would say if you have done like a weeks or 2 weeks worth of boot camp in Python, you should be able to do this. So yeah.
One more comment that came. It's a comment, so I'm reading it out. The comment said HTML and JavaScript are for dinosaurs.
Okay.
How do you react to that comment?
Not really. I would say I don't think you can build any web application without HTML today. The way you would generate might have changed. Once upon a time you would do server rendered JavaScript or server rendered HTML. Today with Node.js and stuff, you could probably do it on the client side, but you will still do HTML. The web is built of HTML, so I don't think you can ever say it's out of And I think if you follow W3C, there has been newer and newer things added to web. There is more real-time things added to web and stuff. So I don't think it's for dinosaurs. I mean, from dinosaurs to modern things, you can still use it. I don't think, I'm not excluding dinosaurs using it though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, since they just joined recently, so if anyone wants to ask a specific question on app dev, now is the time. So go ahead. Any questions on the? I think there was also a concern about the project.
Sure.
There is one student who said they've basically done a lot of academic work, exam writing, but not projects. So is there any special preparation that they will have to do to work on a project in your course?
So the one thing that we have done is we have a lot of screencasts that I've recorded, so that you could open up the editor and follow along with me. Like assume like I'm your coworker. Have the browser of my video open running in one part of the screen and have your editor. You could walk along with me. And the best part of video is you can pause me anytime and then do it and then continue with me. So that way, I think you can pause it anytime and you can run and you can do what I'm doing along with me. So that makes it, I would guess, easier to follow and do along with me. So again, the focus is on doing along with us. So I would suggest having split screen, have one video running, have the editor running, just follow the things and do it along with me. Yeah.
There's a question from Kumar. Let's see if he can ask it. I'm unmuting him. Kumar, go ahead. It's Kumar 9 here.
Yes, sir. Actually, hi, sir. Good evening. I want to know that suppose that you chose that framework like Flask. So what type of mainly we face the problem in that the developing the sign up registration or connecting the database, that type of application we do. So is that we are going to write our algorithm to make the registration page and to connecting the database?
So here is the thing, why we chose Flask was we wanted the simple web framework. And we're using Flask as only web framework. Now, you would also know that Flask has a bigger community. It comes with a lot of add-ons. So for example, to connect to database, we use Flask SQL Alchemy, which is another framework that works along with Flask. Similarly, if you want to do, logins and stuff like that, we'll use, pre-built plugins like Flask authentication or Flask RESTful, things like that, which comes together to add up to the whole application. In that way, you won't be building basics of like for example, you won't be building a query builder or you won't be building a connection pool logic. What you will be building is how do you bring these modules together and how do you build an app. The focus is on building the logic of the app and bringing these modules together. So we'll also introduce to some of the modules that you can use along with the Flask. So the idea is here, we didn't choose all in one framework because we don't want you to stick to one framework. So here, for example, in future, if you don't want to use Flask SQL Alchemy and you are advanced enough to do your own research and want to use some other module, you are allowed to do that. Or if you want to write yourself, you're allowed to do that also. So that way, I think you have that choice as a developer. That's why we chose the simplest framework and bringing frameworks together.
That's very great, sir. I'm very excited to have this all information and knowledge. Where I can develop and I can also make something integration to make something my own way. It's very great.
Okay, thanks, Kumar. Any other question for? There's a question on the chat. Maybe I can take a look at it. Yeah. Okay, so I think Pooja wants to ask about prerequisites. Okay, so I think there are quite a few people who are not from engineering or computer or IT background. They have, in fact, some of them are doing BA and some of them are lawyers, some of them are BCom, people of that background. Is there any preparation that they can do now? Is there something else they can do now to make sure that things like HTML and JavaScript are not going to shock them and surprise them? They have the background of computational thinking and Python, but they've not seen markup and they've not seen scripting languages and things like that. So, is there something they can do to prepare?
Yeah, I think, I mean, if you're done Python, HTML will look very simple. So you can, I think today you have internet, so probably you can look up how to build an HTML document. You may not want to look at how to host it, but you can just look at locally how to create the document, how to open in a browser and stuff. Though I must tell you, like, we have considered all kinds of students, and we start with building simple HTML document. We're not assumed any kind of pre-knowledge of HTML, JavaScript, or any of those. So we'll start from like say 0. But I would say, if you really want to prep up, you can study a little bit of HTML or the history of, web. Basically, that kind of background gives you like a foothold on the why we are learning. What does this mean? And the other thing you can look up is, you can brush up your little bit of Python. Yeah, and maybe a little bit of SQL or DB, how to write queries and that kind of things, like peripheral things that you want to learn about things before you get into course. Yeah.
Thanks, Tej. I think, yeah. So I think there's one more question. I think I guess Bharti was answering a question. Would you say DBMS should come before AppDev or along with AppDev? Is there a requirement? You did mention SQL briefly. People should probably be doing. Is there a prerequisite for us, DBMS?
So DBMS is a core requisite.
Core requisite.
Okay, so they will be doing along with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that answers the question. So you can expect them to be doing DBMS.
Correct. And though we don't expect high expertise, but we like to know, like, for them to be able to write queries and be able to create tables.
So there are a few advanced questions coming in on the chat right now. Kunal Chaturvedi wants to ask, will we be doing only just web apps or other cross-platform apps involving Electron or Flutter, etc.?
Currently in the MAD 01 or the modern application 01, we are not going to go into any of the cross-platform. You should also assume that we have, 12 weeks, roughly 12, 13 weeks. And once you know how to do a web app, I think, transitioning from there to an Electron app wouldn't be that difficulty. So the idea is to build a framework and not to teach you everything. Idea is to teach something as a platform from where you can launch yourself. So tomorrow, if you search on something, I think you should be able to be, and you should have that confidence that, I can search, or I can take this, what I've learned from here, and put into here and build my own. So that is the idea. I don't think we'll reach a place that we'll teach everything. Currently, in the first part of the application development, we are going to teach only the web application.
Okay. Thanks, Tej. I think there's a question also from Ganesh on the project. Are they free to use other frameworks? Like he specifically asked about Django, but what about, say, .NET or something like that? I mean, are they free to use any other framework for the project?
Currently, no. Currently, we are restricting and suggesting certain packages to use. There are various reasons for it. We want everyone to give the same level of tools and make them do the same thing. That's one reason that we want to do. There's also some things that we want to teach through this process, like, whether it's building in certain way or using certain process, which you can of course apply to any other language or any other framework later. But for the project, we have stipulated these are the certain packages that we want the folks to use, and we would prefer them to use that. Yeah, I mean, you can always do your side project on your own and do Django project. It shouldn't be a problem, right? But I think as an assignment for this course, I think we would expect you to do a Flask-based project. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Tej, for clarifying.
Contributing to open source.
So Sharma, I don't know what P stands for, is refusing to divulge that. But so he wants to know if there will be specific details on how to contribute to open source projects.
No, we have not thought any of those currently, but I think if enough people are interested in how to contribute to an open source project, which can be beyond this MAD 01 or modern application development, right? It could be for any open source project. So I think with the help of faculty at at IITM, we can probably do a session where we can say how to do how to clone projects and do PRs and merge requests and how to contribute to an open source project. That can be probably a separate session where either me or Nitin can do, but it's not part of this course.
So just to give you a hint on the kind of people we have in the course, I mean, you're going to have experts who probably developed lots of applications and deployed and run, etc. And you're also going to have newbies. So here's a question from probably someone who has some expertise. So he says, personally, server-side interfacing with a combination of Python and JavaScript can get a bit messy. What will be the extent of this interfacing and in the course? That's what he's asking.
So I think the idea is to cover all kinds of students. Like I said, we will start with basic HTML, and to reach a level where they can independently develop fairly scalable web application. Now we can go from there to a level 2 where we can actually build a rich application and like client-rich applications. But currently, I don't think in the first phase of the application, we are focusing on client-rich application. So the idea is, to make folks understand how these front-end technologies, back-end technologies, and database come together to become an application, right, on the network. So that itself is actually a pretty deep for people who are going to get into this field. And I mean, if you're already in that, it seems obvious. Like, for example, if you're already in this field of physics, many things might seem obvious. But if I'm getting into physics, then, things like, how does gravity work might be very difficult for me to understand. So I think with that, we might look into it like a fairly rich client-side application or class platform applications or scaling or caching and that kind of advanced things in the part 2 of the course, which might be in the next semester.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I think there's a suggestion in the chat also that maybe the advanced folks can create tech clubs and their things of their own, and then invite Tej to give a lecture on some of the more advanced topics. And I'm sure you can convince him to do such things in the future.
Yeah, I think if there is a group of folks who want to do beyond what is there as a thing, I think we'll be more than happy to even receive contributions officially to our own project or to any of the projects I'm part of. So
okay, so there's a comment from Cherian George. He seems to know you. Says Tej used to organize really nice data meet sessions. Would be great to have at least one such session for those who are doing the Aptiv course. That's what he says.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think data meet is like our open data related work that we used to organize sessions for non-technical people on how to use public data for public good. Maybe I think at some point, I think Anand, who is also part of data meet, is going to do a course, I guess, on data visualization or data analysis or something like that, if I'm not completely wrong.
Yes,
maybe.
I think it's called Tools for Data Science. It's coming in the next term, not this term.
Oh, okay. So I think you should look for that. I think, yeah, like Anand is a co-partner at Data Meet, so he will do all the things required.
Okay, great. I think that's it. I think we've exhausted most of the questions that came.
For everybody here, Tej actually leads the team who manages the workflow of the students. So whatever you see on onlinedegree.iitm.ac.in website, inside your dashboard, anything else, he manages that part of it. So he also does that. There are a lot of alsos to Tej. One of the alsos is this. And one big thing about Tej is we've been working with him for about more than 6 years now. So he used to be a developer for us for the portal that where we used to offer NPTEL courses in 2016-17 pre-SWAYAM. So he has contributed a lot to the development of that portal actually. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I think one of the things is like that project is open source.
Yeah.
I think maybe if you like to contribute, you you should be able to pick up and do.
Yeah, this one final question, I think we'll close with that, Tej. This is a question on whether this course will cover deployment to, the web or, on cloud, deployment on cloud, deploying.
So I think we have an not part of the main course, but as an extra assignment and extra thing, which tells you how to deploy to like a cloud platform. I mean, what we are focused is like any free cloud platform, so folks can try. For example, either it's Replit or Glitch. I have a couple of things, example where you can deploy and try it out. May not be super production ready, but it will give you all the experience to go ahead how to deploy in a production environment, things like that. We are not looked into like cloud itself because we don't want to focus on any one cloud as of now. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Tej. Thanks a lot for joining once again from all our behalves. It's great to have you.
And I think you started checking out your GitHub page. So the link is out here. So let's see.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you, folks. Bye.
Bye.
See more of you from next week on, Tej, in the course.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. So I think you can
maybe
conclude.
a few questions that we want to take on the administrative part.
Very quickly, maybe 2 or 3, and then we'll conclude. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so one was about the certificates that we've answered. It should be out in another 2 weeks. E-copy will be given to them and we should be able to put it in. Grade card and your progress card will also be made available within 2 weeks. Once we just settle in on the term, we'll do that. And okay, they want a loan scheme for laptops because the laptops now required to be a little more high-end for this particular level. They're asking whether there's anything we have like that. As part of the program, as part of a partnership with IIT Madras.
We'll see. I mean, right now we're not working on it actively, so we'll have to see something else.
Okay, so will we be called to the IITM campus soon?
I don't know the answer to that question. Nobody is being called to the IITM campus, so it's a big unknown. We'll see.
Okay. Major differences between level of sessions, assignments between foundation and diploma level. I think we've answered enough of it.
Yeah.
The first part. So yes, one question, maybe you want to take this up. I heard Professor Andrew say in the orientation session held yesterday that the government permission for the degree level hasn't been received yet. Can we get...
So let me clarify that a little bit. So what has happened is there's two situations, right? Supposing you're already enrolled in a degree program and you're doing this as a second degree program. One thing we were hoping the government would do is recognize that both degrees are valid. The UGC has actually recommended that to the government. For some reason, the government is not willing to say yes to that. But that's of course only government recognition. I don't think so. That matters for things like government jobs. You can't claim that you did 2 bachelor's degrees and you get something for that. So it sort of works at that level. Up to the diploma, of course, there's no problem. And in fact, even the degree, I think for most non-government firms, it wouldn't matter. But this is, I don't know if it's a delay or if it's going to happen or not, but so far it hasn't happened. So I'm just confirming, I'm just clarifying that written approval saying you can use both degrees for applying to government jobs has still not come if you did 2 of them in parallel. Okay, so that's the clarification. Hope that's clear.
Yeah. Kumar, you have one last question. Yes, we'll take yours and we'll close the session, I think. So you want to be unmuted? Raise your hand.
No, I think he asked before, and that's why.
No, he's writing now, saying one last question.
Last question?
Yes.
Yeah, so go ahead, Kumar. Yeah.
Yes, hi. Sir, since earlier we had only the 4 in the diploma 4 courses, so we have no choice, we can enroll in the 4. But this time, from right now, we have 5 courses, so we have to make a combinations. And the problem is happening, I was thinking past 10 days, what combination I should take, and I was reading the week again and again. And I made, at the last, I made the 3 subjects. Again, I want to, after seeing the today discussion, I want to take the 4 subject or something combination. So it is better to till 3rd September to open the all type of registration where we can change the subject combinations, so it will be the better. So what's happened once I make the combination 3 or some combination, so it's go fixed. So if I change my mood to change that, so till 3rd September or something, if it will be open, I can change the subject or make a combination.
We'll try. I think operationally there are too many complications, Kumar. We will see how much we can accommodate changes, but it's unlikely. So we'll go with this for now. Okay. There was a question on whether or not people will get the degree from us. From us, you will get the degree. I think we have no problem with issuing degrees, even if you're doing one more, and it's a valid degree from our side. Except that if you want to apply for a government job, you can't ask them to give you an increment for having done 2 degrees because you did them in parallel. You can use either of these degrees as the one that you get increments with for government jobs and all that. So it applies for only for government jobs. So corporates, of course, they don't care. They only care about your skills, and this recognition doesn't really matter for simultaneous degrees and all that. Okay?
Yeah, so Shailesh, if you're doing only our degree, it is a completely proper BSc degree with you. So there's no question on that. We're just talking about 2 of them done in parallel in government job recognition. So don't have a doubt about this. It's not about validity of the degree that we're going to give. Okay.
So to give you a very clear example, if you're doing, say, a B.Ed somewhere and you're doing this BSc and you want to apply for a government job, you can't say, I did BSc B.Ed, so give me a teacher job in a school. Because the BSc and B.Ed together, they are not recognized by the government as enough for being eligible for a teaching job. So that's the sort of thing I'm talking about. It's very rare in engineering or a corporate setting for these kind of things to affect anybody. Okay.
Okay, I think we are done.
Okay, thanks everyone. I hope this was a useful session. You had a good time interacting with us. I had a good time interacting with all of you. I hope to see you in the diploma years. All the very best. Enjoy learning. Okay, bye.